The United States Department of Defense spent over $2 billion on a weapon system that couldn't hit its own test targets. It locked onto microwave ovens. It fired backwards. And the Army kept buying it anyway. This is the M247 Sergeant York. By the late 1970s, the Soviet Union had a problem the Americans couldn't ignore: air superiority. The Soviets weren't building better fighters, they were building better air support for their ground forces. Attack helicopters, low-flying jets, drones, things that could devastate an American armored column. The U.S. Army's air defense system at the time? The Vulcan, a 1960s-era gun platform. The Pentagon needed something new, something that could track multiple targets simultaneously. Something with a radar system that could actually distinguish between a Soviet attack helicopter and, well, a bird or a cloud. So in 1978, the Army issued a requirement: build an air defense platform based on the M48 Patton tank chassis. Give it twin 35mm cannons and a state-of-the-art radar system. Make it lethal. General Dynamics said, "We can do that." They'll call it the Sergeant York. The concept wasn't terrible on paper. Mount a pair of Oerlikon 35mm rapid-fire cannons on the proven M48 tank chassis. The cannons were capable of 550 rounds per minute per gun. Add a phased array radar system called the FAR, Firefinder Acquisition Array Radar, and you've got something that could theoretically destroy aircraft from miles away. The gun itself came from Switzerland. The Oerlikon 35mm had proven reliable in other systems. But the Sergeant York wasn't just about bolting guns onto a tank. It was supposed to be smart. The radar system, the fire control computer, the targeting algorithms, these were cutting edge for 1978. The system was supposed to operate semi-autonomously, hunting for targets without constant operator input. Let that sink in. General Dynamics began work in 1979. The program office and Congress were confident enough to start allocating lots of money. Prototypes were built and testing began in earnest in the early 1980s. Very quickly, things started going wrong. The radar system had a fundamental flaw. It was oversensitive. It couldn't reliably distinguish between aircraft and stationary objects, electronic interference, or even natural weather phenomena. During testing at Fort Bliss, the Sergeant York's radar locked onto microwave ovens in nearby barracks and reflected signals from buildings. A helicopter that the system was supposed to track was often ignored. The gun itself worked fine. Twin 35mm cannons firing 1,100 rounds per minute combined were mechanically reliable. But accuracy requires more than just a gun that shoots. It requires actually knowing what to shoot at. Here's where the Sergeant York becomes a masterpiece of failure. The FR radar's algorithm that filtered out clutter like sky, weather, and buildings was inadequate. General Dynamics tried to fix this with software rewrites. Nothing worked consistently. The fire control system was built around a computer that had to process radar data, predict trajectories, and command the guns in real time. The computational burden was simply too enormous. The software had bugs. When the computer did lock onto a target, it often couldn't compute a proper firing solution. One memorable test saw the Sergeant York lock onto its own radar reflection and fire backwards. The Sergeant York wasn't just a gun and radar, it was an integration failure. If the guns rotated faster than the radar could track, you got a miss. Every component had to synchronize with precision. By 1984, the Army had spent nearly $2 billion and bought dozens of systems for field testing. The results were catastrophic. In 1985, they conducted a definitive evaluation using target drones towed behind helicopters. This was the moment of truth. If the system could prove itself, the full production order would be approved. The system failed. The radar locked onto the tow helicopter instead of the target drone. When the guns did fire, they missed by spectacular margins. Even when tracking correctly, The ballistics calculations were so poor that a slow-moving, predictable target escaped unscathed. A $2 billion system failed a simple test. Despite the failures, the U.S. Army didn't cancel the program. They changed the requirement. The Sergeant York was reclassified as a self-propelled air defense system with ground support capabilities. They pretended it was for other things. By 1990, over 50 systems had been manufactured. Not a single one was ever deployed to combat. They were kept on bases, occasionally brought out for testing, then quietly mothballed after Operation Desert Storm. The Sergeant York represents a perfect storm of failure. Ambition without capability. The technology to build a truly autonomous system simply didn't exist in 1978. Complexity over reliability created too many points of failure. Contractor incentives and the sunk cost fallacy kept the program alive. By the time they realized it didn't work, $2 billion was gone. Canceling meant admitting failure, and political pressure protected the jobs involved. The Sergeant York produced 0 combat-capable systems. It locked onto microwaves and fired backwards. It became a textbook case of acquisition failure, now taught in military academies as a cautionary tale of ambition. Today, the few remaining prototypes sit in military museums, monuments to money and the failure of decision-making. The system that was supposed to protect troops couldn't even protect itself from its own flaws. The Sergeant York, $2 billion, 2 guns, 0 victories, and that's the full story of the military's most expensive equipment failure. A weapon system that truly nobody could use.